Yeah, Biman, we are live.
Okay. So, all right. So good evening to all the participants, paper presenters, and today's chairperson. Today is day 2, or we can say as the last day of the student presentation series. We have 2 sessions today. First session, we have 3 presenters, and the session will be shared by our alumni coordinator. It is Dr. Monali Longmailai. In the second session, we have only 2 presenters and will be shared by our alumni president, Dr. Kailadbo Daimai. So once again, a hearty welcome to each one of you present here. So instead of wasting time, now may I call upon Dr. Monali Longmailai to share the first session.
Thank you, Dr. Biman, for the introduction and for welcoming the third session and the first session of day 2, which is the final day of the student presentation series organized by Alumni Association, Department of Linguistics, Assam University. Today, the first presenter is Unmesha Datta, and she will be presenting on syllabic structure in Thai Aiton and endangered language of Assam. All the presenters in the session will get 15 minutes of the time slot for presentation and 10 minutes of discussion. So as we are running short of time, I would like to request all the presenters to please stick to the time slot. Unmesha, please go ahead in presenting your paper.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Is my voice clear, ma'am?
Yes, very much. Please share your screen now. Yeah.
A very good afternoon to everyone present in today's session. Myself, Unmesha Datta, and today I'm presenting the syllabic structure in Thai Aiton language, which is an endangered language of Assam. The first slide contains the contents, which goes like introduction, methodology, syllables, and syllabic structure in Thai Aiton language of Assam, conclusion and references. The Thai groups living in Assam and Northeast India refers themselves normally as Thai. But all these 6 groups of Assam Thais use different names to distinguish among them. As the story is transmitted within the Aitons, the ton in Aiton means high. As they say, Pung Pong, Tong Ton, Chim, Si, Chim Kum, Kup, Pai Bai, which means the highest man among all has been honored. Thus, Aiton is regarded as a man of high rank. When we look at the origin of these 6 Thai communities of Assam living in the Brahmaputra Valley, basically, at what point of time these Thai peoples entered northeastern part of India is not mentioned anywhere. One can only assume it from the oral stories transmitted within the community and also from some of the written documents of different scholars. It is believed that the Thai people entered Assam almost 700 years ago. It was the Thai Ahom community which entered Assam for the first time in the year 1228, which is led by the Prince Sukafa. And after that Ahom community, the other 5 Thai communities also entered Assam. Thai Aiton was the last community to enter Assam among these 6 Thai groups. There are presently 8 Aiton villages found in the Tani Shamgao, Borhula Shamgao of Golaghat district, and Ahumoni Shamgao, Borgao Shamgao, Sokihula Shamgao, Polioni Shamgao, and Balipothar Shamgao of Karbi Anglong district. In comparison to other Thai groups of Northeast India and Assam, Thai Aiton still has a good number of speakers, including their grandparents and parents. The population of Thai Aiton people is about 2,000 as estimated by the community itself. The population of Thai Aiton is recorded in Arangwan in 1606. In Arangwan as 1,606 only. When we look at the typology of Thai Aiton language, the Thai languages are mainly spoken in the southeast part of Asia and southeastern China. Sir George Abraham Grierson stated Siamese Chinese under the Proto-Sino-Tibetan language family. Although this classification is followed by large number of scholars, but a major initiative was taken by Paul K. Benedict in 1942. Benedict snapped the linkage of Thai languages and deconstructed the Siamese Chinese or Sino-Tibetan language family and established a new language family, which is called Thai-Karai language family. Benedict believes that Karai languages belong to the same family as the Thai, but there has been different stages of development. Thai languages are the largest groups within the Thai-Karai language family. The Thai languages are mainly spoken in the Southeast and East Asia. The Thai languages can be broadly divided into three groups, namely Northern, Central, and Southeastern. In the slide itself, the family tree portrays the Thai-Karai language family, and here the Southwestern group, in which our Thai Aiton language falls under. The group also contains languages like Liu, Dehong, Red Thai, Black Thai, White Thai, Thai, Lao, Khamti, Phake, Ahom, Turung, Hamyang, Latai, etc. Typologically, Thai Aiton is a tonal language. So Stephen Moray has identified 5 tones in the language. Since I'm still in the preliminary level of my studies, so till now I could only identify only 3 tones, which I have displayed here. The first example is ma, which means come, ma, dog, and ma, horse. The second example is kun, and kun, which is kun is person, kun is bottom, and kun is to uproot. Fa, tha, kha are the voiceless aspirated stops found in the Thai Aiton language. On the other hand, like most of the Thai-Karai languages, Thai Aiton language also lacks voiced aspirated stop ha. The common word or the common sentence pattern of Thai Aiton language is SVO. For example, kau chinko kha, where kau is the first person singular, chinko is it, and how is rice. Then again, me mau hoga chu kau kunlung mun mun, where me mau me is mother, mau is the second person singular, hug is give, or hugga together means give, cha is possessive marker. Then kau is again a first person singular, kunlung is so many, and mun is mango. Unlike most of the endangered language of Assam and of Northeast India, Thai Aiton language still have Thai Aiton people have still preserved their own script, which is called Lik Thai. The Iton people has they have a lot. The Iton community is very much rich in their oral literature, and which is in the form of folk tales, folk songs, etc., or folk stories. The Buddhist community has lots of manuscripts stored in their Buddha monastery. Some of those are religious scripts, and some others contain folk tales and the stories of their invasion, their history, etc. The methodology I have used for this topic is basically based on two sources, primary and secondary. The primary source of the proposed work is mainly based on speech data of a particular speech community, which is Thai Iton community. The collection of data is done through the personal contact with the informants with the different age group of sex and profession. The data is also cross-checked and with other people of the same language for the consistency and authenticity of the same. The secondary source is collected through library works, which includes valuable written materials in the form of books, journals, articles, etc. Before starting the syllable structure of Thai Iton language, it is very interesting to know what is a syllable. A syllable is a segment of speech that consists of a vowel and with or without a consonant, with or without one or more accompanying consonant sounds immediately preceding or following them. So a syllable basically contains three elements: onset, nucleus, and coda. The nucleus of a syllable is the obligatory part, which is mostly a vowel. Sometimes also a diphthong plays the role of a nucleus, and sometimes in some languages semi-vowels also plays the role of a nucleus. On the other hand, the onset and coda of a vowel is the consonants that either preceding or following the nucleus. Then another question arises when we talk about syllabic structure. What is a syllabification? So the syllabification is the process of breaking up words into syllables. So the diagram displayed in this slide shows a generally agreed syllable of any language of the world. So here the syllable, the sigma is divided into two, onset and rhyme. Then rhyme is again divided into two, nucleus and coda, where the nucleus is the obligatory part of any syllable, and the onset and coda are not very much are not the obligatory part of a syllable. Although this is the generally agreed syllable structure of any kind of language, but renowned linguist knows presented another syllabic structure for tonal languages, or the tonal languages, especially of the Thai languages, where he states that the syllable of a Thai language contains four types of components: the initial, nucleus, final, and a tone, where initial is the onset, final is the coda, nucleus is the same, and he also added tone in the syllable. So when we look at those syllabic structure, we find something like this shown in this diagram. But in this paper, we are not following Gnosis syllabic structure, but we are following the traditional syllabic structure for to study the syllabic structure of Thai Iton language. There are two more things comes when we talk about syllabic syllables. What is open syllable and what is closed syllable? Open syllable is a syllable which lacks the coda, that is, or we can simplify it, a vowel ending syllable. On the other hand, a closed syllable is closed by a consonant sound, or which has a coda. As shown in the example, ahoy. Here, oi is the final sound. Thus, it is an open syllable. And in the second example, sin, here na is the final sound, which is a consonant. Thus, it is a closed syllable. The syllabic structure in Thai Iton language. Being an isolating language, the dominant syllabic structure in Thai Iton language is basically monosyllabic. But disyllabic and trisyllabic words are also present in the language. In linguistics, a monosyllable is a word or utterance of only one syllable, where the nucleus is the obligatory part, and it may follow or precede by onset and coda. The first table shows the monosyllabic open syllables. The first example goes which means aunt, and the syllable type is bhi. The second one is ao, which is uncle. Syllable type is bhi. The third one is sai, which means brother, and the syllable type is syllable structure is cbhi. Then comes to closed syllable, monosyllabic closed syllable. The first one is khun, which means pant, and the syllabic structure is cbc. Then sin, which is a kind of skirt, or what we call mekhela in Assamese. The syllabic structure is cbc. Then ek, which is yoke. I'm so sorry for the coughing in between. Which is an instrument used for fishing, and the syllabic structure is VC. The second type of syllabic words found in Thai language is disyllabic words, which is a lexeme consisting of 2 syllables. The first table shows disyllabic open syllables. Po sao, here po sao, cb, which means father-in-law. Me en, aunt, which is cbvc. Oh, sorry. This is not an open syllable. I by mistakenly put it here. Then the third one is luk pao, cbc, cb. The bisyllabic closed syllables are shown in the next table. Pa jing, cb, cbc. Ko, pong. Kong, pong. cbc. Ao, hong. Bhi, cbc. The last type of syllabic structure, which is found in this Thai Iton language, is the trisyllabic words. The trisyllabic open syllables are shown in this table. In the first table, su, hung, ma, which means wolf, and the syllabic structure is cb, cbc, cb. Nu, sung, nga, which means muskrat, and the syllabic structure is cb, cbc, cb. The third one is ling, top, na, and the syllabic structure is bcc, cbc, cb. The trisyllable closed type of syllabic structure is shown in the next table. The first one is kun ta bat, which means blind man, and the syllabic structure is cbc, cb, cbc. He un, cb, bc, bc. Ta hin, kun, cb, cbc, cbc. Nuk, yung, tag, cbc, cbc, and cbc. So these were the syllabic structure found in Tai-Iton language. To conclude my presentation, it can be said that the critically endangered language Tai-Iton is basically a monosyllabic word, but the language also has disyllabic and trisyllabic lexemes. Both the open and closed syllables are identified in its syllabic construction. In Tai-Iton, the nucleus can alone form a lexeme. CVC is the common syllabic pattern of the language. V, VV, CV, VC, CV, CV, CVC, VC, etc. are some of the syllabic pattern, some other syllabic patterns found in the language. So this next slide shows the author's interactions with the informants. And here comes the references. And this was all for my paper. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, Unmesha, for trying to finish on time. It was quite an interesting presentation to see the syllabic structure of Tai-Iton. Participants can unmute yourself and ask questions, and also put your questions in the chat box. So the room is open for discussion, but we have 5 minutes only. Jonali, do you have a question, Jonali?
I muted her.
Okay, I think that was an interruption. Any questions?
Okay, yeah, let me take the, okay. Unmesha, can you go back to your open syllable from monosyllable? Starting from monosyllable.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so now this is, yeah, it's a very good and very interesting paper. You are a 4th semester student, na? Or?
PhD scholar. She's
okay. Now see the example psi here. Okay, so I think it should be CBV because this is the occurrence of 2 vowels. Are you following my point? Fine, means syllabic tag or the syllabic pattern, na?
So can you repeat? I
brother. Okay, brother.
Yes.
So it's psi. So A and I, so both are the vowels, but in the syllable type you are representing as a single syllable as B.
Oh yes, sir. Yes.
Okay.
Sir.
Yeah. Do you have anything to say on this, or it's a typing mistake?
I think it's a careless mistake, because in the open syllable she has given AO as VV and she has put I as CV when it should have been CVV.
No, actually, sir, I is the diphthong.
No, even though diphthongs, but in the syllable pattern or the syllabic pattern, it is 2 vowels, right? AO is also the diphthong.
Yes, sir. Yes.
So you are giving BV.
Yes, sir. I should put it CVV.
It's
okay,
CVV.
so yeah, CBV.
Yeah.
So this you have there are certain examples where you need to recheck it. Okay, so just go to next slide. The next slide, and there were in between also I can't figure it out, but there were some mistakes that you did the same way.
Oh yes, sir. Yes, I will check it, sir.
Okay, yeah, that is one thing. And another thing is you said that this Tai-Iton has some 2000 speakers. So that number is recorded in the 1606, or is it the latest one?
No, sir.
Her voice is breaking.
Is another book, Arangwang. They mentioned that 1606 is a number of speaker of Tai-Iton language. It is not been here. Yes.
Your voice was breaking. So 1606 is the number of the speakers, right?
Yes, sir. The population of the Iton is as recorded in Arang 1 is 1606 only.
Means 1606 is the year or is the number of the number of the speaker? I don't know.
Unmesha, you can, we're not able to hear you.
Yes, sir.
Year or speaker? 1606?
Community people estimated that there may be around 2000 in number of speaker of Thai Iton and number of the speakers as Arang 1 recorded, which is
1606 is speaker. That is what she says.
Okay, anyway, okay, fine. So if you are working on, if I'm not mistaken, you are working on this language, Thai Iton, then if it is a part of your research, one suggestion that I would like to make here is, you can check for the complex cluster or complex onset or the consonant cluster, which is permissible at the onset position, okay? Because you are working in the syllable structure. Then what are the consonants also that is permissible only in the onset positions for this particular language? I think she is around, no? She has not disconnected.
Yeah, she's there.
Yeah. Unmesha, can you hear me?
yes, sir.
Okay, so that thing you can, incorporate in your research as well. Okay, the permissible consonants in the onset positions. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Please, yeah, the others can take their time.
So any more questions? Mary, Dr. Mary and Kelagbo? Yeah, both of you.
Unmesha,
Yes, ma'am.
if can you show your slide? Can you show your PPT? If you have closed it, I just want to ask you the examples of those trisyllabic and disyllabic and or the words that you have given, are they compounds or what is yeah, can you go to the slide?
Yes, ma'am. Most of the disyllabic and trisyllabic words are compounds.
Okay. I know it's a phonology paper, but still it will be nice if you can give the gloss for each of the each of the syllables or each of the morphemes or each of the words. Okay. So yeah, for example,
okay.
if you look at wolf, the examples that you have, Suhangna, it looks like they are compounds. So if you can give the gloss, what are these compounds composed of? For example, what is Su, what is Hang, what is Na? That would be nice. Similarly, in the case of the other examples also, blind men, definitely the closed syllable examples are compounds, right?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yeah, ma'am. Kun is man and yes, like this.
If you can get trisyllabic or disyllabic, which are not compounds, that would be great. But if you have put the compound words, it will be better if you put the gloss for each of the compound, each of the elements in the compound. For each word, you gloss it correctly. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, that is all I have to say.
Thank you, ma'am.
That is also what I was observing. So yeah, it's
exactly what exactly what I was to ask. Mary ma'am has just
so we just first had the same thing in mind, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, but, because I'm sure these blind man, peacock, all these are definitely compounds, but we don't know which is man and which is the blind. So it looks like she has to give the gloss of each of the words and the resultant compound also. Okay, Unmesha, please take care of this.
Yes,
Yes, Unmesha. Hi. Okay, yeah, I'm so happy that you were doing well in your research. Very nice
Thank you, sir.
presentation. Very nice presentation. And yes, what I was to point out, like I said, Mary ma'am has already give a comment on that. But just to add on that, like Mary ma'am said, you try to look into root words which have like monosyllable, bisyllable, and other things. Okay, so you try to look for those things. But again, if you are taking these compounds into consideration, you may also look into some more compounds. Like if there is trisyllable compound word, there might be also quadruple. I don't know. I don't know. I forgot the exact term for that. Quadruple syllable compounds, or even more. If you look into compounds, so you check into those things also. Okay. But
Yes, sir.
for syllable structure, it is very important to look into these root words and then try to find out the kind of syllables that are possible in the language. So best wishes for you. Keep it up.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir. I will keep these things in mind.
Yeah, I think these are very good observations that Dr. Mary and Dr. Kelatbo and Dr. Bijan have given to you. And you may also look into the other Kradai languages spoken in Vietnam and Laos, because they have, there's also a place name somewhere in Thailand or somewhere where it's so long. I've come across one video where it has such a long name. So it's actually all are monosyllabic, but then, it just goes on. So how long can be the syllabification of Aiton is something you can investigate in the coming research that you will be doing. I just want to ask you one thing. When you were identifying tones in Aiton, and Morey identified 5 tones which are contradicting with your analysis, you're saying it is preliminary as 3 tones. You have given registered tones, whereas Morey has given contour tones. I would like to ask you if your informants were from a different generation than those consulted by Morey, or is it that they are losing tones for which only 3 have been retained? Unmesha?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, thank you for the question. When I went for my data collection, or when I went for the field, I only met one person who interacted with Morey when Morey visited their village. So we can say that most of the people may have expired, or we have lost most of the informants of the language. So, and the other thing is my mother tongue and the languages I know are not tonal. So identifying tone is a very, very difficult for me. So it can be another reason that I am missing out the tones. That is why I have not said that these are the only tones. I am still working on it. So in the future, I will, if I get more tones, then I will update my tone list, or otherwise I will keep how I got it. So this is the thing. And one more thing, the Aiton community, they are now using Assamese in all the aspects for education, for marketing, everything. Even in a household, also for some families where they got married to another community. So there may be possibilities that the community itself also losing some of their tones.
So, which means that since this language is quite endangered, could be critically endangered, and they might be losing tones, and they might be, losing tones, and it might have been, merged to just 3 tones. We never know. So you have to study what are the tones that Moore has identified, what are the pitch contours that he has identified, and how are these present generation speaking. I think you need to cross-check because the language is dying, right? So all the best to you. And since we are running short of time, so if there are any more questions, please put them in the chat box. And thank you, Unmesha. We move on to the next presentation, which is by Nisha
Thank you
Paul,
so much, ma'am, and thank you everyone present.
Nisha Paul, marking of tense in machine. Nisha, please unmute yourself and share your PPT screen.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, is it visible? Also, am I audible?
Yes, yes. Please go ahead.
Good evening, everyone present here. I am Nisha Paul. First of all, I want to thank the Alumni Association Department of Linguistics, Assam University for this platform and opportunity to present the series. Today, I will focus on the marking of tense in missing language. These are the metadata of my informants. Both of them helped me in collection and cross-checking of data. Starting with the introduction of a language, missing, also known as Mishing and Plain Miri, it is a Sino-Tibetan language from the Eastern Tani branch belonging to the Tibeto-Burman language family. The native speaker resides mostly in the district of Sadia, Tinsukia, Dibrugarh, Shivsagar, Jorhat, Golaghat, Dhemaji, Lakhimpur, Majuli and Tejpur, and Shoraidew of Brahmaputra Valley of Assam, and in the district of East Siang, Lower Dibang Valley, and Namsai of Arunachal Pradesh. The language has 9 dialects: Pagro, Dalu, Oyang, Moing, Dambuk, Samuguria, and Tamargoja Bongkhul have large shift towards the Assamese language. It is an endangered language, and the level of endangered is 4, that is unsafe, which is used by some children in all domains and also used by all children in limited domains. According to Census 2011, the population of speaker is 7 lakhs approx. Here is the map of Assam showing the missing speakers towards the eastern part of Assam, marked with red circles. And here is the map of Arunachal Pradesh showing the missing speakers towards the eastern lower part of Arunachal Pradesh, marked with the red circle, that is East Siang, Lower Dibang, and Namsai. Elicited text was collected basically from the informants residing in the district of Sivsagar, Dhemaji, Majuli. Telephonic conversation were also held for the collection and cross-checking of data. Research has been done with a limited number of data consisting 400 words, 100 phrases, 170 sentences. Research was also based on available literature in the form of books, journal, papers, website, and ER articles. Tense. According to David Crystal, a category used in grammatical description of verb referring primarily to the way the grammar marks the time at which the action denoted by the verb took place. Traditionally, a distinction is made between past, present, and future tense, often with further division. The language is classified as two-way tense, that is future and non-future. Here is the table showing the markers where non-future present time is marked with suffix do, dag, and dung, and non-future past time is marked with suffix bo, bong, dag, and kang, and the future time is marked with suffix ye. The non-future present time do and dag are suffixed with the verb. So as in the first example, ba apin do dag or dodo, where ba is the third person singular he, apin is rice, do is eat, and dag and do is the present marker attached with the verb, which means he eat rice. Secondly, ngo footballam leg dag or leg do, where ngo is the first person singular I, The qualifier is qualifying the noun football. The verb leg is kick, and dag and do are present marker, which means I play football. The non-future past time suffix bo, bong, dag, and kang are suffixed with the verb as. Ba up in dotobo, where ba is the third person singular male, apin is rice, do is verb eat, to is the perfective marker, and bo is the past marker, which means he ate rice. Secondly, ba ngok okumpa gidung, I'm so sorry, ba ngok okumpa gidubong, where ba is third person singular female, ngok is the first person singular my, okum is home, pa is the locative case marker, gi is the verb go, do is leave, and bong is the past marker, which means she came to my house, that is living home. Then ba nitom ko molidag, where ba is the third person singular female, nitom is song, ko is one, moli is the verb sing, and dag is the present marker, which means she sang a song. Secondly, ba uangko pagikang, where ba is the third person singular male, uangko is west, and pa is the locative marker, and gi is the verb go, and kang is the non-future marker, past marker, which means he went towards the north. The future tense is marked by suffix ye immediately after the verb as. Ba apin doye, where ba is the third person singular male, apin is rice, verb is do, the verb do is eat, and ye is the future marker, which means he will eat rice. Secondly, ngo footballam leg ye, where ngo is the first person singular I, qualifier is qualifying the noun football, leg is the verb kick, and ye is the future marker, which means I will play football. Now let's focus on the perfectivity. The perfective marker to and ka is suffixed to the verb as ngolu lekopa dakor kortogai, where ngolu is the first person plural we, lekope is together, dai is the verb work, kor is do, to and gai is the perfective marker and past marker respectively, which means we worked together. Secondly, ngo burma gasor borniko bito, where ngo is the first person singular I, ba is the third person singular male, and ma is the accusative case marker. Gasor is cloth, and bor is classifier, and ni is 5, and ko is individuating the noun, and the ba is the verb. The verb ba is give. Is give, and to is the perfective marker, which means I gave him 5 clothes. Ngo, and second, we can say that ngok babu bi ngo arik pa latoka, where ngok is the first person and seeing first person singular possessive, babu is father, ba is the nominative marker, ngo is the first person singular objective, arik is field, and pa is the locative case marker. Lato is the verb take, and ka is the perfective marker, which means my father took me to the field. Secondly, ba okumdam mopukabo, which means ba is a third person singular male, okum is house, and dam is the accusative marker, mopu is the verb clean, ka and bo is the perfective and past marker respectively, which means he cleaned the house. Now let's head towards the progressive aspect, marker suffix la, til, and ra, which is used in both past and present time after the verb. So the examples, we can see that ba apin doladung, where ba is the third person singular male, apin is rice, the verb do is eat, and la is the progressive marker, and dung is showing the non-future present time, which means he is eating rice. Secondly, ba ageram gerra dung, where ba is the third person singular female. Qualifier is qualifying the noun work. Ger is verb do. Ra is the progressive marker, and dung is showing the present time, which means she is doing work. Thirdly, ngo silchar pa gitil gidung, where ngo is the first person singular I, pa is the locative marker, suffix to the place noun silchar. Verb gi is go, and til is progressive marker dung in present time, which means which means I'm going to Silchar. In the case of past progressive, ba apin dolatobo, where ba is third person singular male, apin is rice, do is verb eat, la is the past progressive marker, and to and bo are perfective and past marker respectively, which means he was eating rice. Secondly, ba ageram gerra bong, where ba is third person singular female. Qualifier is qualifying the noun work. Ger is the verb do. Ra is the past progressive marker, and bong is the past marker, which means she was doing work. Thirdly, ngo silchar pa gitil gibong, where ngo is the first person singular I. Pa is the locative case marker for the place Silchar. Gi is the verb go. Til is the past progressive marker, and bong is the past marker, which means I was going to Silchar. I would like to conclude that there are two-way tense in missing language that represent future and non-future time. The non-future present time in missing is marked by the suffix do, dag, dung, and are suffixed with verb. The non-future past time is marked by suffix bo, bong, dag, kang immediately after the verb. The future time is marked by suffix ye immediately after the verb. Also, the perfective aspect is marked by suffix to and ka immediately after the verb. The progressive aspect, both in the case of past and present, is marked by suffix la, til, and ra immediately after the verb. Thank you.
Thank you, Nisha, for doing your study on missing tense, and I'm sure there are many questions from the participants, so the room is open for discussion. Yes, Mary. Yes.
That was Nisha's
Yeah, Nisha.
paper, right?
Yeah.
Nisha,
Yes, ma'am.
in your conclusion, can you show us that conclusion slide?
Yes, ma'am. Just give me a second.
Yeah. So you said the future time is verb something immediately after the verb, right?
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
The
ma'am.
next point you say perfective aspect is marked by suffix to and ka immediately after the verb. So can two things come immediately? So if there is both aspect and tense, which will occur first? For example, if I say, I have been attending the seminar since yesterday. So which one, the aspect or the tense will come after the verb? So you're saying that both are coming immediately. So that immediately should go away in one of them. Okay.
Okay, ma'am. Okay.
So here, yeah, you can show us with examples. That will be better. Let us see the position of the tense and the aspect marker. Which comes first?
Okay, ma'am.
You should go to the slide where you have given tense and
For
aspect.
example, yes, you go back to that slide where you have both tense and aspect. Yeah, here.
Next. Yeah.
So
Here.
then PF and past. What is this PF?
Ma'am, PF is perfective aspect.
So the perfective, the aspect comes before the tense.
Okay.
Is it fixed? is this fixed or is it flexible?
No,
Can
ma'am,
we
it is fixed.
a past perfective, or
Yes,
is it is this order fixed?
yes, ma'am, this order is fixed, ma'am.
Okay.
The data that I have been collecting
Okay.
these days, it is fixed.
In that case, your conclusion, you should mention that the aspect marker comes after the verb, and then if you have both tense and aspect, the tense marker comes at the end. Okay, so you have two immediately. So one of the immediately should go.
Okay, ma'am, sure.
Okay, so we'll say that the perfective marker comes immediately after the verb and the tense marker. So the previous one, the future time or the future other, you have to say that the tense marker comes at the end, not immediately after the verb. Okay, so the verb template will be like verb, then you have the verb, after that you have the aspect marker, then you have the tense marker, right?
Okay, ma'am.
Has to be clear. Okay, so if we have both tense and aspect, for example, what about if you have mood markers and all? So it will be nice to see the structure of the verb template. Okay, so you have the it looks like all are suffixes, but what comes after that? What comes after the verb? So from the examples, we see that you have the verb, then you have the aspect marker, and then you have the tense markers, right? So that has to be spelled out correctly. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
Nonetheless, it was a very good paper.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you, Mary, for your suggestion. And I think that's a very good observation that you have to follow, Nisha. When you have tense and aspect discussed, you have to see which order occurrence is in this verb phrase. That is very important. So not everything will come immediately after the verb. It is post-verbal, but it doesn't mean it is immediately after. So please keep that in mind.
Okay, ma'am.
Any other questions?
Yeah, Nisa, good job. It's a
Thank
very
you,
good presentation. So first, I would like to suggest to rename the title of your presentation as tense and aspect in missing, instead of only tense marking missing, because you are discussing both tense and aspect in your presentation. Okay, that is the first thing. Can you go back to that bo and bong one, the earlier slide that you were showing? Yeah, this is also fine. Now, one observation that I would like to make here is, let's say ba. Ba is both for third person, singular, male and female. Okay, am I right?
Yes, sir.
So here you don't need to mention either it is a male or female. And another thing, after the three or after one or two, you don't need to use this dash. Okay, 3SE directly you can write that way. And this one, man, female things is both for male and female. Ba is the word that used for either it's a male or female. So irrespective of that, if there is no distinction, so you can use without this M or the F. That is one observation that I would like to make. Okay, so this is very interesting paper. Actually tense and aspect is a very complicated area when it comes to the Tibeto-Burman languages. But anyway, you have done a very good analysis from your presentation. It's very clear what you want to mean, okay, what you want to convey. All right, and as Ma'am Mary suggested, just try to see what is the order of all these markers, not let's say aspect or maybe tense, and if there is another marker come from the mood. So tense, aspect, mood, these are the three phenomena that we use to analyze together, because we cannot do only for tense, we cannot do only for aspect, because these are the things which are the elements which go together with the verb. That's one observation. A very good thing. Okay.
Thank you very much, sir.
Yeah, that is one thing. Like, we don't hyphenate if there are not more than one morpheme inside the word. It's just one morpheme verb, so it will be 3SG. Okay. Then the other thing I also would like to note is, you have shown so many markers, but there are not so many markers. There are allomorphs of certain morphemes. So you have to see as in when, in which context is bo used, and in which context is bong used, in which context is do used and dag used. Because dag dung or do dag or do dung, they seem to be morphologically reduced form. So in which context are these used? Is there any morphophonemic change? You have to observe that. Similarly for bobong or even kang, because all of them are, having the initial plosives. You have to observe when is it bong, when is it dung, when is it kang. Dag is very clear. You can see very clearly that dag is non-future. Non-future. But regarding others, why is it, having so many allomorphs? You have to identify. And why is guy distinct? These are the things that you can start looking forward from your paper from now on.
Okay, ma'am. Okay, ma'am. Sure.
Hello.
Yes, sir. Dhiren sir.
Am I
Yes.
audible? Yeah. So, Nisa,
Yes, sir.
Dr. Bijan has already pointed out that tense aspect is a very complex, grammatical phenomenon. As I have observed that, you didn't prepare the verbal paradigm. You need to
Yes, sir.
prepare the verbal paradigm. Okay.
Okay,
And
sir.
and what are the suffixes occurs directly with the verb? Okay.
Yes. Okay, sir.
Then what are the suffixes cannot occur directly with the verb? I mean that you have to prepare the occurrences of all suffixes very clearly. Okay.
Okay, sir.
In the verbal paradigm.
Okay, sir.
Then you can say that this particular suffix express future time, past time, etc., etc. One more thing, you have to make clear that what is the difference between time and tense,
Okay, sir.
right? What is time and what is tense? You have to be very clear about that. I feel that you mix with the time and tense. Okay.
Okay, sir.
And
I will surely look into that.
yeah, you have shown many more suffixes to express then future time, etc. But there must be some specific. There must be some specific contracts. And one more thing, you have to look for the aspects. It seems that it may not be tense as well, because most of the TB languages are not tense prominent. So it seems either model or the aspects. So you have to be carefully examine. So what about the model? You didn't tell about the model.
No, sir, I couldn't
Something
find
like
that.
mood. You didn't tell something about the mood. You didn't tell anything about mood. They are maybe mood markers, or you have to talk about the aspects very carefully.
Okay, sir.
But you have mixed all the things together. That's why so yourself have many confusion to say something more about that particular suffixes. That's why you first you have to make the verbal paradigm where the suffixes occurs. In
sir.
which position with the verbs. This is very important. That was that is my suggestion for you.
Thank
Other
you,
things,
sir.
you have made attempt, good attempt. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. I will look into that.
Yeah, Kailadbu also wants to say something. Thank you, Dhiren sir. Yeah.
Still time, na?
Just last, you will be the last one.
Okay. Yes, Nisa. Thank you for your presentation. It's nice. It's a nice work. But like Sir Dhiren and Sir Bijan has pointed out, tense, aspect, mood, let's say TAM, TAM, this this category is very complex in typical Burman. Now, what I want to point out, you have categorized this tense marker into future and non-future, right?
Yes, sir.
And you have presented these markers for present tense and then past tense. Now, when we categorize future and non-future, non-future will have both present and past. That is the kind of understanding that we have. Now, if we go to the first, let's move to the first slide. When you say I eat, yeah, he eat rice and he ate rice, for example, let's say. What is the difference? Are they differentiated by the tense marker that you have given in your table, or is it
Yeah.
both this past and present? See, why we put non-future and we put past and present together is usually because in many Tibeto-Burman languages, there is no differentiation between I eat rice and I ate rice. I mean, like, we can have same construction, and based on the context, we can explain it that this is past. Say yesterday I ate rice, and I eat rice now. That is the kind of thing that used to happen in many languages. Okay.
Okay, sir.
So, but if you have separate markers for I ate rice and I eat rice, maybe it's not, the classification should be not future and non-future, but you can have the past, present, future as a separate category, very distinct. Right?
Yes,
But when we put future and non-future, there usually like there's no distinct marker for present and past. So you can look into that. And another thing is, yeah, bo and bong. Okay, yeah. The second example here we have in example 2, we can see gi do bong, right?
Yes, sir.
Past, yeah. So this gi do, we can say it's like both of them are verb. So we can say it's a complex predicate, we can say. So why I'm saying is these complex predicates sometimes, or usually they used to give information. It gives past information about the past. Here also you have a complex predicate, and then the past marker comes, right? So in other languages, in my languages, we have complex predicate where we have 2 verbs, and those two verbs will give meaning of a perfective, that is the action that has already been done. So you look into the complex predicate things where like 2 verbs occurs, and it gives some information about how the action has been, whether the action has been done or not. Okay.
Okay,
so,
sir.
Yeah, these are some suggestions that I want to give. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Kailatbo, for the suggestion, and I hope Nisha will keep all these points in mind and improvise your paper for your future research. So all the best to you. Thank you.
Thank you,
And
ma'am.
now we'll move on to the next presenter, Karigapsa Dibajyoti Bormon, and he will be presenting on personal pronouns in Kokborok and Dimasa, a morphophonological study. So Dibajyoti, please unmute yourself and share your PPTs in the screen.
Okay. Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Okay. Let me share my screen. Okay. Actually, I'm trying to just present with my
Yes, please go ahead.
Okay. So let me try. Actually, I'm presenting with my mobile. That's why I'm checking. My topic is personal pronouns in Kokborok and Dimasa, a morphophonological study. So, am I audible?
Yes, you are. Please go ahead.
Yes, okay. Kokborok is mainly spoken in Tripura and in the neighboring Karimganj district of Assam. They are also found in small scattered groups in the Chittagong hill tracts of present Bangladesh. Dimasa is mainly spoken in the Assam and Nagaland states of India. As per some preliminary work done by some native scholars, Kokborok have almost 8 distinct dialects, namely Bru, Dev-Burma, Jamatia, Koloi, Murasi, Rupini, Tripura, and Choi. Dimasa has 4 major dialects: Asawar, Demra, Dijua. Okay. As per a census of 2011, the Kokborok speakers were 9,17,900 and the Dimasa were 1,32,327. These two languages come under Barish, a section of Bari, division of Tibeto-Burman language family. Okay, these are the, here I have highlighted the geographical area with the arrow mark where the Dimasas are found and where the Kokborok and Tripura speakers are found. These are the hotspot areas. These are some of the typological features: tonal, monosyllabic, verb root, agglutinative, voiceless spirit occurs in initial prominence of the specs, classifier, verb, final, null, relative pronouns. So these are the some of the 8 typological features within these 2 languages, which is found in these 2 languages. So, so the first person pronoun. So the first person singular in Kokborok and Dimasa is closed monosyllabic word consisting BC syllabic pattern. In both the languages, first person singular personal pronouns begins with the central low unrounded vowel a and ends with the velar nasal consonant na, that is ang. The nasal final in the first person pronoun is one of the typical features of Bodo-Garo languages as shared by Kokborok and Dimasa, and it corresponds with by both the Proto-Bodo and Proto-Tibetan first person personal pronoun ang. First person plural. So here in Kokborok and Dimasa, the first person plural personal is suppletive and monosyllabic form. In both the languages, first plural is closed syllable consisting CBC syllabic pattern. At the onset position, the first person plural pronoun manifests alveolar affricate sound. However, it contrasts in voice and voiceless, that is ja in Kokborok and ja in Dimasa. Both the languages have velar nasal consonant in coda position. In the nucleus position, the first person plural personal pronoun manifests high vowels U and E with rounded and unrounded contrast in Kokborok and Dimasa respectively. However, the vowel U that occurs as nucleus in the first person plural pronoun of Kokborok corresponds with one of the dialects of Dimasa, that is our dialect. The pluralization process of first person plural is not made by affixation as many other Tibeto-Burman languages, namely Manipuri, Karbi, Rongmai, etc. they do. The suppletive form of first person plural is one of the typical features in Bodo-Garo languages. So these are the some examples of Bodo-Garo languages. There are the 8 languages of Bodo-Garo. So all of them are suppletive. The first person personal pronoun in Kokborok and Dimasa is illustrated below. So these are the some first person personal pronouns. So in Kokborok, ang, chung, and Dimasa, ang, ching. On in bracket, I have given the chung, which is spoken in the hour. Now comes to second person singular. In both the languages, second person singular is monosyllabic form consisting CBC syllabic pattern. Second person singular is closed syllable in Kokborok and Dimasa, and the velar nasal consonant ma occurs in coda position. In both the languages, second person singular begins with alveolar nasal na, such as nung in Kokborok and ning in Dimasa. Here also, in the case of second person singular personal pronoun 2, it corresponds to both the Proto-Bodo-Garo and Proto-Tibeto-Burman second person singular personal pronouns nang. Now comes to second person plural. In Kokborok, second person plural is disyllabic word. Plurality is made by means of affixing the plural form rock to second person singular pronoun no. Okay, here the second person singular is no, and with this rock is affixed. Rock is the this plural form in Kokborok. Now comes in Dimasa. In Dimasa, the second person plural is a disyllabic word formed by affixing the plural morpheme she. Only in case of human, this is here I've given more details. So she to second person singular pronoun me, derived from ning. Second person plural is closed syllable in Kokborok, whereas in Dimasa it is open. Though it begins with alveolar nasal in both the languages, but Cockburg has consonant, and there is a voiceless vowel plosive k in its final, whereas in Dimasa it is high vowel underneath close, that is close high vowel e. It is worth mentioning here that the formation of second person plural pronoun in Cockburg and Dimasa is almost similar to many of other Tibeto-Burman languages like Nipuri, Angami, Karbi, Thada, Rongmai, Cockburg, Chorai, Ranglong, etc. The second person pronouns in Cockburg and Dimasa are summarized in the following table. So here I have given the second person of Cockburg and Dimasa. In Cockburg, nung, when it's pluralized, it's attached with the rock, so norok. In Dimasa, it's ning or nung, it's become nishi. Third person singular. In Cockburg and Dimasa, the third person singular pronoun is a monosyllabic word consisting CVC syllabic pattern. Begins with the voice bilabial stop b, followed by the mid rounded vowel o. As in many other Tibeto-Burman languages, Cockburg and Dimasa also doesn't make any gender distinction in pronouns, particularly in third-person pronoun as defined in the Indo-European languages like Assamese, Sylheti, Bengali, English, etc. The third-person plural. In Cockburg, the third-person plural pronoun is made by means of suffixing the same plural morpheme rock, which is used in second-person plural. Similarly, in Dimasa too, the third-person plural is made by suffixing the same plural morpheme C, which is found in second-person singular pronoun. It is worth mentioning here that the plural morpheme C cannot directly attach to the third-person singular pronoun. Sorry? Okay, I think some
Bijan, can you please mute Dhiren sir? I think he's unaware.
So, shall I continue?
Yes, please continue.
Okay. It is worth mentioning here that the plural morpheme she cannot directly attach to the third-person singular pronoun in Dimasa. Morphophonimically, the high front vowel E of genitive marker ni is being deleted when it is followed by same vowel. As a result, the underlying form bonishi became bonishi. So here, the examples of third-person pronouns in Dimasa is illustrated below. The Cockburg is bo, and plural borok. Dimasa is also bo, which becomes bunshi. So here is some morphophonemic changes in personal pronouns I'm sharing here. So velar nasal na is deleted when it's followed by the alveolar nasal sound. So alveolar nasal or otherwise just alveolar sound. So here we can see angni becomes ani, first person singular genitive. Jingni becomes jini, ningni becomes nini, ningshi becomes nishi, boningshi becomes bonishi, that's underlying form, and bunshi, it becomes bunshi. So morphonemic changes also found in Cockburg too. So these are some of the morphonemic changes. So deletions occurs in Cockburg too. Same things, velar nasal is dropped when it is followed by alveolar sound. So angni becomes ani, chungni becomes chini, nungni becomes nini, nungrok becomes norok, angno becomes ano, nungno becomes nono. Thus, the deletion of velar nasals, especially in first and second person personal pronouns, is one of the corresponding features found in both the languages. So assimilation. In Dimasa, the velar nasal becomes alveolar nasal when it is followed by alveolar consonant. So here you can see antene becomes angtene becomes atene, ningtene becomes ningtene. And it is observed that in Dimasa, the disyllabic dative case marker tene occurs only with the monosyllabic personal pronouns, where the short ne can occur with all. Here we can see, okay, the ram, it need to be a capital letter. I have written it small. So ramne is the person's name. So if we say Ramtene, it is not acceptable. So Ramne is acceptable. But in case of pronoun, personal pronoun, especially when it is monosyllabic, it is acceptable. So vowel harmony. So here a little bit shared about the vowel harmony. Boni becomes bunchini to the tongue height. Here, some of the vowel harmony cases are shown, and again in Howard dialects, mostly in Howard dialects, this vowel harmony is more prominent. So in Howard, instead of saying jing, which is the first person plural in standard, in Howard we say jung. It is jung. Jungni becomes jini. Nungni becomes nini. Again, nungshi becomes nishi. Here is the regressive assimilation mostly. In Kokborok also, vowel harmony is found in second person and third person. Nungno becomes nono. Here the mid vowel, the regressive occurs in place of u of nung. So here again, nungni becomes nini, boni becomes bini, chungni becomes chini. So Kokborok and Dimasa both exhibit regressive vowel harmony, whereby the vowels of the first syllable harmonize with the vowel of the second syllable in terms of tongue height. In other words, the vowel of the personal pronouns harmonize with the vowel of the genetic morpheme and plural morpheme. Vowel harmony doesn't apply to the first person singular, as it begins with the vowel. So it's found mostly in the second and third person personal pronouns. So see, these are the third person. The boni becomes bini, boni, same, buni. For example, here we can see that the example 10 and 9, when we compare the vowel harmony, the Kokborok is regressive. It's like Kokborok is regressive harmony is more effective than in Dimasa. Kokborok has harmonized the same vowel. Now comes to syntax. The pronouns function as subject arguments or subject complement. It is observed that the nominative form of pronouns is unmarked in Kokborok, as in 1 and 2. Also in Dimasa, in both the language, nominative marker is unmarked. So from here in 1, you can see that Ang Bobai Bazar Amalaika. So I made him in the market. So here we can see that with Ang, the nominative marker is unmarked. And same here in 2. In Dimasa also, here we can see in the 3 that Ang Boke Ham Hataya Goronba. So here is nominative is unmarked here too in both the examples. Like many other Tibeto-Burman languages, both Kokborok and Dimasa doesn't have distinct oblique forms of personal pronouns. However, the oblique forms of personal pronouns are formed by postposing case markers to the corresponding personal pronouns. So here are the oblique sounds, ang, bono, mukha. So no here is the oblique. Again, in the second example 6, boke, himane, tiha. This is the Dimasa. So K, accusative marker, is attached with bo. So here to the dative marker, kunanu, angno, bugui, andrusu. So here tomorrow you bring a pineapple for me. So here dative is no, the oblique marker in Kokborok. And here the in Dimasa daknaning atane primary labuhi tree. So tomorrow you bring pineapple for me. So here tene is the dative marker, which is the oblique form. So conclusion is that absence of nominative marker is found in both the Kokborok, in both the languages Kokborok and Dimasa. And second, Dimasa doesn't manifest contrastive pairs between fricative and affricate. in phonology, z and j. Here the comparison helps to assert that the Dimasa have alveolar affricated j in initial position of first person plural personal pronouns. Because the difference is just the voice and voiceless between the Kokborok and Dimasa. In Kokborok and Dimasa, the first person plural pronoun is suppletive. The pluralization of second and third person pronoun is done by affixation. The velar nasal is being dropped when it is followed by the alveolar sound in both the languages. In Dimasa, velar nasal becomes alveolar nasal when it is followed by the alveolar consonant. The vowel of the personal pronouns in Kokborok and Dimasa harmonize with vowel of the genitive morpheme and plural morpheme too. Vowel harmony doesn't apply to the first person pronoun as it begins with the vowel. It is observed that except the plural marker rock and in she, and she, this rock and she is the plural marker in Kokborok and Dimasa respectively. So these personal pronouns rarely manifest major variation between these two languages, except this this plural marker. So these all are the references, and this so thank you for listening.
Thank you, Jyoti, for your wonderful presentation on the pronouns in Kokborok and Dimasa. And the room is open for discussion. We can take 5 minutes for discussion. So participants, kindly unmute yourself and ask questions. Since nobody has unmuted themselves, so I just want to ask a few questions to you. Just go back to the slides where you have the third person and second person singular pronouns. Plural pronouns for Dimasa, Nishi and Bunshi. Can you please go back to those slides? I just have this curiosity because you have mentioned that she is the plural marker attached with the second person and third person singulars. But if you see what Dundas has written there, it says that it is Nishi, which is the plural marker. So Bo combined with Nishi becoming Bunshi, and it can be Bunshi, it can be Bunchi, and it further gets deleted, the nasalized na, it further gets deleted as Bushi or Bushi. I'm sure you have heard this kind of occurrence for the third person plural. So I think you might have to go back and relook into your plural marking, which for me is not she, but it is Nishi in case of second and third person. In case of second person in Dimasa, it is Ning plus Nishi becoming Ning Nishi, Ninishi, and then Nishi. Because to have Ning plus she and then to have Ningshi becoming Nishi is more difficult. Then it is more difficult. It's much easier to say it as Ning Nishi becoming Ninishi. The na gets deleted because there is a presence of the alveolar nasal na, and then Ninishi from there, because of the repetition, it gets deleted initially and it becomes Nishi. I think you have to cross-check the Nishi and the Bunshi second person plural and the third person plural pronouns in Dimasa, because she is not the plural marker here. It is Nishi, which is the plural marker. But there is a lot of deletion that occurs in this pronouns. Like you said, assimilation plays a role. Similarly, even for this, assimilation is playing a role here. So you please cross-check that. And you have given Boni, but you have not mentioned the genitive case of Bunshini. The ni still occurs after the Bunshi, right? So if you are, there has to be a symmetry. If you are, exemplifying genitive case marking, then you have to do it for all, because you have mentioned somewhere for Kokborok all the genitive case together, but in Dimasa for the third person plural, you have not given the genitive case. So there has to be some consistency in the illustration. These are some points that I would like to say, and yeah. Dhiren sir, would you like to say something? Or Mary or Ratna Joy? Yeah. Samir.
Can you go back to your slide? I think it was second person where you mentioned like it's quite similar, almost similar to some languages, you know. Second person, I think. It's very much, yeah, in the beginning part. Yes, here it is. Here, I think. It is worth mentioning here that the formation of second person plural pronoun is almost similar. I'm just wondering, what do you mean by almost similar? Is it similar or not similar? That's very vague. And to other Tibeto-Burman languages, like you have given the languages, but you have not kind of shown any similarity with these languages. One, and what are your sources? You have given so many languages. It will be nice if you can give the source, because second person plural, right? So I don't see any similarity with my language, which you have mentioned other words. So no rock. So you be careful when you are stating things like this. Where is the data to show that they are similar? And the word almost similar is also very vague and very dicey. So can you check on this?
Actually, ma'am, here I am showing that the pluralization is done by affixing.
That is true. It's done by affixing.
Yeah. But in the first person, it is suppletive. We are not affixing.
Okay.
So all of these Manipuri, Angami, and pluralization is done by affixing. That's what I want to share. Just by affixing the, by suffixing, we can make the pluralization. That's the only. She is also suffixing and rock also suffixing. But in case of first person, we don't have suffix, just we have suppletive form. Okay, ma'am.
You have given so many languages. It would be nice if you can show with this one of these languages, or even in the presentation, you can give your source, because we don't have the data for all these languages. Yeah, I know it's by affixation, but when you have mentioned like this, I was looking for similarity in the plural formation as in the morpheme. There is no similarity. Definitely, it's more the Tibeto-Burman languages. The person is, of course, it is by suffixation. Yeah, that is true. But I'm worried about the word almost similar. If you say similar, it's okay. Almost similar is it means something else. And then since you're giving all these languages, maybe you can give the references or the sources where you're taking it from, since you don't have the data. Okay, that's a little observation that I've made.
Okay, I will be more careful on it, ma'am. Thank you for suggestion.
Yeah, I think that's very good observation Dr. Mary has given, because when you are referring these languages, you have to give a table or exemplify the data from those languages, why you're saying they're almost similar. And I also have given, in case if the participants are confused with which morphemes I mentioned, I have given in the chat box. So Dibajyoti can also look into it and reanalyze your work, because it is contradicting your, sometimes you're saying, sometimes you're showing Dandas, Bonishi, sometimes you're saying it is Bun and Shi. So you have to be consistent in the analysis with the pluralization of the pronoun second person and third person.
Second person or third person? Bunishi is
second and third person. Yeah, what I'm saying in the chat box, like you can see, is Ning is second person. So Ning plus Nishi is becoming Ning Nishi. It's easier to do deletion because you have given Ang plus Thane, where you can have Anthane. And then Ang plus Ne, you can have Ane. There is a process where you delete the velar nasal when there is an alveolar nasal. And when you have Ninishi, it is easier to delete one syllable because it is a repetition in terms of pronunciation. And then when you have the third person, you have Bonishi, and you have given the Bonishi even in Dandas. And Bonishi can become as Bonshi, and you even hear Bunshi, which you have given here, right? And in Dimasha, we even use Bushi. So you see the way nishi occurs, in the same way bushi is also possible. So there is a process. So you have to identify the diachrony of nishi, because if you don't,
This middle one,
na,
bunshin is moribund now. We don't use. Just we use the bunshi. Just underlying form. Why the na is occurring between u and she.
that is what I'm trying to say. That is what I'm trying to say. If you don't show the diachrony of nishi, then in the present context, nobody is using the first part, the first syllable of nishi anymore. So this needs to be analyzed and documented properly. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, we can take one question more, because there is another session to be chaired by Dr. Keladbo Daimai. So is there any other question? Samir, are the data correct from Kubra? We would also like to hear from you. Samir, Dr. Samir.
Okay, let me ask one question.
Oh yeah, Biman is there, right? I forgot Biman is there. So sorry.
Not asked actually.
Okay, brother.
Just to say one thing. This nung, this the word nung.
Yeah, the sixth one.
Yeah, actually, yes. In some other that is a dialect actually, nung. Although it is also being used by, like, in other districts, or like it is being spoken in some other districts. Actually, we usually write this what do you call, high central unrounded vowel. That is something with linguistic marker, na? It is we usually say not nung. It is nung, high central unrounded vowel. So, but here anyway, you should have mentioned it is something like a dialect. But when somebody read out, people may find it that, oh, this what is wrong, they might say. So we usually write this in the standard mode, or whatever we call it, this
central vowel. Central vowel.
Yeah, central vowel. That is in high.
Central vowel.
Unrounded vowel.
High.
Yeah. So, that is like that, huh? Nung, not nung.
That's right.
So that is, that is my observation. Anyway, it was nice presentation by Devajuti. That's all from my point of view.
I will check that.
Yeah. Just check it once.
That's a very good.
Actually, I was a little bit. I was actually not finding the contrasting pairs between the central vowel u and the rounded vowel u. So that's why I thought it's like a allophone or something like that. Okay, I will check it for the future.
Yeah, no issue.
Okay, thank you so much, Dibyajuti. It's a wonderful presentation, and there's so much of scope for reinvestigating your analysis and doing more in your future research. So thank you, Chairperson Dr. Bimanti Barma. Thank you to the inaugural host, Dr. Bimanti Barma, for making me as the chairperson for this session. And I'd like to end the first session here, and I'd like to request Dr. Keladbo to be here for the next session. So yeah, thank you.
Okay, so thank you to Dr. Monali along my life for being the chairperson in the day 2, session 1. I also extend my heartfelt thanks to all the paper presenters. You all must have tirelessly worked and given your time for making this presentation a fruitful one. So once again, thank you to Dr. Monali and all the paper presenters. So now we move on to the last session, that is session 2. Now may I call upon Dr. Keladbo Daimai, our alumni president, to chair the session. Over to you, brother.
Thank you, Dr. Biman. Yeah, good evening to everyone. We will straight away start with our session since we're running behind time. This session, we have two presenters, two paper presentation. One is from Sukanya, and the other is Nishi, right? Yeah, we have Sukanya Datta, a sketch study of syllabic structure of Tai Kamyang, and Nishi Fukan, we have verbs in Rongmei. So without much further delay, I would like to welcome the first speaker, that is Sukanya Datta, to give your presentation.
Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, yes.
Sukanya, you're muted. Can you unmute yourself? Yeah.
My topic is a sketch study on syllabic structure of Tai Kamyang. My contents is introduction, methodology, syllable and syllabic structures, syllabic structure of Tai Kamyang, monosyllabic words, disyllabic words, trisyllabic words, conclusion and findings. So Northeast India has their versatile identity of its own, which is quite different from the mainstream national identity. From the age of primitive era, Northeastern Aboriginal community have been followed their indigenous cultural habits, practices their rituals, and using their native language over the years with them. There are a number of indigenous ethnic communities scattered in all over Assam. Most of the tribes have belonging to different religion and ethnicities. According to anthropological perspective, the Thai people are belongs to a part of Mongolian tribes, and linguistically they belong to Shamsin or Thai-Sin branch of Sino-Tibetan language family. The Thai people have entered the Northeast India in several time frame of last 8 centuries. There are 6 distinct Thai communities have intruded in Northeast in last 300 years. Ahom are the first group of Thai race who traveled across the Burma border and entered Assam through Patkai Hills in 1226. In other remaining Thai groups are Tai Kamyang, Phake, Turung, Khamti, Aiton, Nora have entered in 18th century in Northeast and scattered in various places in Assam. Each of these Thai groups was literate and practicing their own script derived from either Mon script or Burman script. There are many different classifications of the language of Thai group. The family tree can be represented as below. We can see that Tai Kamyang, Tai Khamti, Tai Turung, and Tai Aiton belongs to the Assam Thai group. So Tai Kamyang is a critically endangered language of Daik or Tai Gadai language family. The Kamyang language constructs an important indigenous ethnic community existing amidst of Assam and various language family of Assam for centuries. The Kamyang variety of Thai belongs to a critically endangered language group. Originally, in the early stages of Tai Kamyang belongs to an era named Khamjang, which is situated in the Kachin state of Myanmar. In the beginning of 17th century, the Khamjang had settlement across the Patkai Hills. At the present, Kamyang people are spread in 2 states of Indian region, Assam and Arunachal Pradesh. In Assam, they have established number of villages in Brahmaputra Valley, such as Solapathar Shyamgaon, Moniting, Disangpani, Bongaon, Rohan Siamgaon in Sipsagar and Soradio district, Bedbari, Betoni, Siamgaon, Balijan Siamgaon, and North Siamgaon in Jorhat district, Rajapukri in Golaghat district, and Poyamukh in Tinsukia district. In Arunachal Pradesh, they have settled in 3 villages, Nongtha, Jonapathar, and Khaisu in Lohit district. According to UNESCO Atlas of World Language in Danger 2009 edition, there are 196 Indian languages listed in the endangered list. Out of 196 languages, 89 languages located in northeastern region. Some of the languages like Khamyang, Turung are not recognized in the list of endangered languages of UNESCO yet. According to SIL Ethnologue, the Thai Khamyang language only spoken about 50 speakers in Puaimik village located near Margherita town of Tinsukia district. According to 2001 census, there are 800 ethnic population of Khamyang people in all over Assam, but only very few speakers fluent in the language. According to Stephen Morey in his book, The Thai Languages of Assam, A Grammar and Text, there are only 50 speakers in the village, but during my field work in 2020, it was noticed that that the number of fluent speakers are less than 10. The older generation can communicate with each other with their native language, but children and immediate older generation of the community cannot speak the language fluently. Some of them are semi-speakers and most of them are converted to Assamese language. Methodology. Data for the present study was collected from Puaimuk village of Tinsukia district of Assam. The data was collected through interview method. The collection of primary data was recorded through personal contact with the informants of Puaimuk village Tinsukia with all different age group and sex and profession. Now I'm going to discuss about syllable and syllable structure. According to Human, the syllable consists of two phonetic words, onset, nucleus or peak, and coda. The vowel element is known as a peak or nucleus of a syllable, while consonant occupies as a marginal position in a syllable. The consonant that begins the syllable is known as onset, and the consonant that occurs at the end of the syllable is known as coda. If a coda is absent in a syllable, it is called open syllable. If the coda is present in the syllable final position, it is called as a closed syllable. In Khamyang, syllable consists of onset, coda, peak. For instance, nam, which is consonant vowel and consonant CVC, which means water. Here is the first consonant stand for onset. V, peak, which is mandatory in syllable structure, and last consonant stand for coda, which occurs in the final position. If a syllable consisting of only one sound, then the sound will be the vowel, which is obligatory element. That is, a syllable is not possible without vowel element, where consonant occupies a marginal place in the syllable or word. Syllabic structure of Thai Khamyang. Thai Khamyang language is monosyllabic language where Khamyang roots are generally monosyllabic. It is worth mentioning that most of the Khamyang syllables can be systematized as CBC pattern. The CB pattern exhibit majority of Khamyang syllable structure, but monosyllabic roots having VC pattern are also well attested to the language. Here C refers the consonant, vowel refers the vowel, B refers the vowel. Monosyllabic, disyllabic, and trisyllabic are the basic types of syllabic structure found in a language, and there is no tetrasyllabic or pentasyllabic words are found in the language. Monosyllabic words. In linguistics, monosyllabic is a word or utterances of only one syllable. Monosyllabic words in Khamyang can be open and closed syllables. CB pattern is a more common pattern in a language. The different syllabic structure of Khamyang monosyllabic words are exemplified below. For the open syllable, the pattern of open syllables and monosyllabic words in Khamyang are like OE, which means sugarcane, which syllable type is VV. C means paper, which means CB. Syllable type OE means ornaments, which means CBB. And closed syllables like on. Closed syllables like on, which means soft, which syllable type is BC. Noon means silver, which is CC. Lum means wine, which is CVC. Disyllabic word. In linguistics, disyllabic words are characterized by consisting of two syllables. Disyllabic words in Khamyang are common. Disyllabic roots in Khamyang can be open and closed syllable. Disyllabic words having different type of syllabic structure in Khamyang are exemplified below. The syllable patterns of disyllabic words at Khamyang are like onla, that is front, VC and CV is a syllable pattern. Hansi, that is lion, that is syllabic pattern is like CVC and CV. Hongpai, that is smoke, that is CVC and CVV. Closed syllable. The various closed syllable patterns of disyllabic words in Khamyang are illustrated like Silung, that is dress, CV, CVC, Ben Tin, this afternoon, CVC, CVC, Untun, that is many, BC and CVC. Trisyllabic words. The trisyllabic words in Thai languages are very rare, and it seems to be a compound or complex one. Trisyllabic words are in Khamyang are relatively less in number. The trisyllabic words pattern in Khamyang can be open and closed syllables. The words having different syllabic structure are illustrated below. That is like hun and z. It is because Thai Khamyang having compounding trisyllabic words. So hung means a room, ani means give, and z means medicine, which means hospital. Other word like fo kin law, fo means food, kin means eat, and law means firewood. That is means like food that is cooked in firewood. It's called breakfast. Mak sang fo, that is mak means fruit, or sang means sweet, and seed. Fo is like seed, that is a papaya, a fruit that having seeds. It's called papaya. Closed syllable. The pattern of closed syllable in trisyllabic words in Khamyang are illustrated below. Au kin hok. Au means food, kin means eat, and hok means grind. It is a food that is grinding food, or like it's called feeding. The syllable pattern is VV, CVC, or CVC. Next word is keng hung nang. There's a keng means ring, hung means wear, and rang means nose. It is a nose ring. This syllable pattern is CBC, CBC, or CBC. Nam se sum, nam means water, se means coal, and sum means sar. That is means curd. Nam se sum is curd. It is a trisyllabic word. It's a compounding word, and its syllabic pattern is CVC, CV, and CVC. So it's my paper, and now conclusion and finding. Thai Khamyang is a critically endangered language of Thai Kadai or Dait language family. The language is a monosyllabic language where Khamyang roots are generally monosyllabic. It is worth mentioning that syllables can be systematized in CVC pattern. Monosyllabic, disyllabic, trisyllabic are the basic types of syllable structure found in a language. Both the open and closed syllables are identified in the language. Monosyllabic roots consisting VV, CV, CVV, VC, CC, and CVC patterns. Disyllabic roots in Khamyang consisting VC, CV, CVC, CV, CVC, CVV, CV, CVC, CVC, VC, and CVC patterns. The trisyllabic words in Thai languages are very rare, and it's to be compound or complex one. The trisyllabic roots consisting CVC, CVC, CV, CV, CVCC, CVV, CVC, CVC, CV, VV, CVC, 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 and CVC, CVC, CV, and CV pattern. There is no tetra or pentasyllabic words are found in a language, and these are the references. Thank you for listening.
Okay. Thank you, Sukanya. Thank you for the brief and nice presentation that you have given. Now the paper is open for discussion. Whoever wants to give comment, suggestion, or question can do so.
Yeah, I will just ask one question only. That is, why have you not found tetrasyllabic and polysyllabic words in Khamyang when Unmesha has found those in her data in Aiton? Because these are Thai languages, and they are not only from the same language family, but they are neighboring to each other. Even in Assam, they speak in the neighborhood. So how is it that they don't have, or is it that you could not collect the data, or you did not find it during your field work?
No, ma'am. Ma'am, Unmesha give only that trisyllabic words only, ma'am, and I didn't find any words which is tetra or pentasyllabic till now, ma'am. From all my
Okay. You found only trisyllabic. That is the maximal syllabification. So it would have been interesting or good to see a syllabic, structure, a tree diagram for the maximally maximal projection of the syllabification in Khamyang. That would have been one interesting thing to, if you could have shown us that. So that would have been good, because you have shown them in tables, but to see in a diagram, could also have made it even more interesting. That is my suggestion. So you are saying that it is critically endangered and there are only 50 speakers in your field work, which are they from both older and younger generation?
Ma'am, very older generation actually. The old,
So only the older generation.
yes, ma'am.
Okay. And the younger generation, they speak only Assamese or any other Thai languages?
No, ma'am, there they speak Assamese and sometimes they speak a little bit of Khamyang, but they are not fluent. They are mixing with Assamese.
Okay, so the dominant language in the region besides Assamese, is is there any other language besides Assamese?
Ma'am, they are influenced by like Phake.
Phake.
Yeah.
Okay. What about Singpo? Are there Singpo speakers there? Are they influenced by Singpo?
Yes, ma'am, it can be because there is lots of Singpo people in Tinsukia district, in the same place. I have to check the name.
Because what I have seen is that sometimes the Thai people dress up like Singpo. They wear the wrapper, the male wrapper, they interchange and they wear. They are culturally so assimilated. So I think you could also look into the Singpo data, or maybe you could try comparing and see how much of the Khamyang data that you have as of now is Thai and how much of it is related to Singpo. I think that is important to see. Okay, that is my suggestion.
Thank you for the suggestion, ma'am.
Thank you, Monali. And those are important suggestions. You take note of those. Yeah, just to supplement, if you are taking these compounds into consideration, I think, I believe that there will be a lot of examples. You have mentioned that very few trisyllables are available, or very few trisyllabic words are there in the language. If you just consider what are the like how is compounding in the language, whether it's a very productive kind of word formation. And if it is a very productive kind of word formation, I think there should be a lot of compound words that has trisyllable and even more, so you can you check on that. Okay.
Okay, sir, I will work on that. Thank you for your suggestion.
Any other questions, suggestion?
Sukanya, that was a good paper. I don't want to comment on this paper, but this is because this is student presentation series. This comment or this suggestion is for all of you. Since yesterday, I have been observing that we are very, what would I say, careless or casual in our making our PPTs. Let us be a little more careful. Let us make it grammatically error-free and spelling wise also. And then the data also should be clean and it should be properly glossed. Okay, this is a general comment for all of you. If I don't want to specify in this presentation, for example, the spelling of speaker or names of people like yesterday were misspelled, and grammatically we put in incorrect sentences, and sometimes our data is not properly glossed. Let us maintain that minimum standard where it is grammatically as well as it is free from other that kind of typing errors, as well as this minor glitches, because going forward, you will be presenting in big conferences and seminars. These are things that I want you all to keep in mind. Of course, where is human, we all make mistakes. Nobody's PPT or nobody's presentation or nobody's perfect, that I agree. But having said that, it doesn't mean that we should make mistake in every slide. Okay, when it's when you see too many errors or too many mistakes that is coming up, you get carried away, or sometimes we don't say, because of the language, we tend to say things which we don't want to say, and then that leads to another discussion. So when we use words, we should be sure, don't use vague terms like some or like that kind of thing. Let's be more data specific and number specific. That is, whatever we say, that is, exemplify with examples properly, so that the presentation becomes more professional, more academic. This is just uh, suggestion and observation for all the presenters. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your suggestions.
Yes, thank you, Mary, ma'am. Yeah, that is a very important suggestion to everyone, not only to the presenters present here, but even for me. Thank you. Any more? One more? I can take one more question if anyone is there. Okay, so if no one is there, then we will go to the next presentation. Thank you, Sukanya.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Yeah, we will move to the next presenter, that is Nishi. Verbs in Rongmei. Nishi, you are there?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you can start your presentation. 15 minutes for your presentation and 5 minutes for discussion.
Good evening, everyone. First of all, I would like to thank the Alumni Association of Linguistics Department, Assam University, and my respected teachers for giving me this opportunity to present here. Today, I'm going on verbs in Rongmei language. Here is the methodology used in this research work. First of all, I'm going to give a brief introduction of Rongmei language. Rongmei is a Sino-Tibetan language spoken by Rongmei Naga community in northeastern India. The Rongmei are one of the major native Naga tribes found in different states of northeastern India like Assam, Manipur, and Nagaland. It is the most spoken language in Tamenglong district and Noni district, and the second most spoken language in West district and Bisnupur district of Manipur. However, a good number of Rongmei speakers are also found in two districts of Barak Valley of Assam, Kasar, and Hailakandi. The research is based on the Kasar district. Rongmei people are racially belong to the Tibeto-Burman family of the Mongoloid race, and linguistically, they belong to the Nagaboro subfamily of Tibeto-Burman group. According to the 2011 census of India, the total population of Rongmei is 150,000 approximately. Verb. In general, a verb is a word or group of words that describe an action in its various forms. A verb can be further defined as a set of words that expound physical and mental actions and the state of being. In Rongmei, verb takes the aspect markers or imperative markers which encode the tense of the sentence. In Rongmei, verb roots can be classified into two types. They are simple root and derived or complex root. Simple verbs. Simple verb roots consist only one root. In other words, simple root is a free morpheme which can stand independently. Here are some monosyllabic root verbs. They are ti, that is give, to, it means eat, ho, see, nui, laugh, tat, go, and kap, shoot. These are some disyllabic root verbs. This is satho, tell, kahi, touch, and luai, finish. Derived roots or compound verbs. In Rongmei, compound verbs are formed by two free root morphemes that is verb plus verb morpheme. In such type of compound verb, it is very difficult to say which verb is either V1 or V2. It's the semantically head of the compound. Here are some compound verb. It is la guang. Here la means take and guang means come. These together it means bring. The second one is ti thai. Ti means give and thai means no. Together it means inform. Here are the types of verb. In Rongmei, there are 3 types of verb. These are transitive, intransitive, and diatransitive verb. Transitive verb. Transitive in Rongmei, transitive verbs takes only agent and object argument. These are some transitive verbs: to, eat, tea, there's give, how, see. Here are the example of some sentences. Is I bathai to a. Here, I is the first person singular number and bathai is mango. To means eat and e is the declarative marker. I eat mango. The second one is I hari akhat ho a. It means I see a bird. The third one is I rahul ta jan a. Here ta is the accusative marker. It means I love Rahul. Intransitive verb. In Rongmei, intransitive verbs takes only one argument. Here are some examples of intransitive verb. Sam means fly, zip, sleep, tat, go, su, it means do, and dung, sit. Structurally, intransitive verbs includes verbs with a single argument. These are shown below. These are some example of sentences. Hari sam a. Bird flies. I tat a. I go. I su a. I do. Diatransitive verb. Diatransitive verbs can take 2 object arguments. In Rongmei, the grammatical functions of agent and object are generally indicated by word order and postpositional case marker. That is, the agent NP precedes the object NP, which in turn precedes the verb as illustrated below. This is the example of a sentence. I kakhang lari khati the. Here, I is the first person singular number, ka is third person singular number, and khang is the dative marker, larik means book, and khat is the numeral, and t means give, and k is the past marker. I gave her a book. Here are some verbal elements. Tense. Tense is a verbal category. It is the form in which a verb is used to express when the action is performed. Jacobs affirms that tense is the grammatical marking on verbs that usually indicates time reference relative to either the time of speaking or the time at which some other situation was in force. He deals with the uses of tense where he claims that past tense marks situations as distant either in time or reality from the speaker or writer, while present tense shows the absence of past tense and thus indicates the absence of such distancing. In Rongmei, present tense is unmarked. They only use the declarative marker a. The examples are here. Minam su a. Minan is the third person plural, and su is do, a is declarative marker. They do. I tat a. It's I go. I cricket tali a. I play cricket. In Rongmei, past tense is marked by the suffix kante that is generally attached to the verb root. Mi pu bathai khat tu kante. Here, The verb is to, and the past marker is kante. He ate a mango. Aranme pena tu kante. Again, the verb is to, and the past marker is kante. They ate a lot. Priya school tat kante. Here the verb is tat, and it was suffixed by the past marker kante. Priya went to school. Me pu se he kante. Here the verb is he, that means write, and the past marker is kante. He wrote a letter. In Rongme, future tense is marked by the suffix puni. That is also attached to the verb root, and it is followed by the declarative marker a. I thangte tat puni a. Here the verb is tat, that is go, and the future marker is puni, and the declarative marker is a. I will go there. Me pu se he puniye. The verb is he, that is right. Future marker is puni, and the declarative marker is a. He will write a letter. Aspect. A tense tells us something about when an action or event occurs, and the category of aspect tells us how the action unfolds. Some of the aspects of distinction in Rongme are given here. The first one is perfective. In Rongme, perfective is expressed by the aspect marker lao, that is attached to the verb root followed by the past tense marker kante. The example is shown below. Mi pu se he lao kante. Here the verb is he, and the perfective aspect marker is lao, and the past marker is kante. He has written a letter. Progressive aspect. Progressive aspect is marked by the suffix bam, which is generally attached to the verb root, and again followed by the declarative marker a. Mi pu bathai tu bam a. Here the verb is to, that is followed by the progressive marker, that is bam, and the declarative marker a. He is eating a mango. Mi pu school tat bam a. Here the verb is tat, go, and bam is the progressive marker, and a is the declarative marker. She is going to school. Mi pu se he bam a. Right is the, he is the verb, this right, and the progressive marker is bam, and the declarative marker is e. He is writing a letter. And I dui lo khang tat bam a. Here verb is the tat, and the progressive marker is bam, and the declarative marker is a. I am going for but. Habitual aspect. The habitual aspect is expressed by the marker tan. That is also attached to the verb root, and it is by the declarative marker a. The examples are given here. I tin pam gulai no du jang tan a. Here the verb is jang, that is drink, and the declarative marker is tan, and the habitual marker is tan, and the declarative marker is a. I drink milk every day. I tin mik pam hi tan a. I write every day. Mi pu tin mik pam school tat tan a. He goes to school every day. Mood. Mood is also a grammatical category of the verb, which expresses the speaker's attitude towards the action or state given by the verb. Some of the types of mood in Rongme are given here. Imperatives. Imperatives are verb forms that are used to indicate command, instruction, or request to perform some action. In Rongme, there are two imperative markers. One is tho, and another one is o. Here the marker o is more polite than the marker tho. The example is Priya Khang Sian Gansek T-O. Here verb is the T, and the imperative marker is O. Give some money to Priya. Thangte Dong Tho. Here the verb is Dung, that is sit, and the imperative marker is tho, sit there. Guang tho, and the guang is come, and the imperative marker is tho, come. That indicates the command. Tu tho, eat, and the imperative marker is tho, eat. Jang o, jang is drink, and o is the imperative marker, drink. It indicates the request. Hortative. In Rongmei, hortative sentences are semantically functioning as an imperative clause. The hortative marker is kan attached to the verb root as shown in the sentences. Priya guang kan tho. Here the verb is guang and the hortative marker is kan and the imperative marker is tho. Let Priya come. Ka new tat kan tho. Here the verb is tat, which is attached by the hortative marker kan and the imperative marker tho. Let them go. Optative. In Rongmei, optative mood is expressed by a suffix kandu, which is attached to the verb, which is attached to the second verb. Nang ta ragwang sohyam lau kandio. May God bless you. Here the optative marker is kandu. To conclude, we can say that morphosyntactically verb roots in Rongmei can be classified into two types. They are simple root and derived or complex root. Simple verb root is free morpheme, which can stand independently. Most of the verbs in the language are monosyllabic. Structurally, compound verbs in Rongmei are composed of verb plus verb morpheme. Structurally, there are three types of verb in Rongmei. They are transitive, intransitive, and diatransitive verb. In Rongmei, main verbal elements are tense, aspect, and mood. In Rongmei, present tense is unmarked. They only use the declarative marker a, and past tense is marked by the suffix kante, that is generally attached to the verb root, and future tense is marked by the suffix puni, that is attached to the verb root, and it is followed by the declarative marker a. Perfective is in Rongmei. Perfective is expressed by the aspect marker lau, that is attached to the verb root, and followed by the past tense marker kante. And the progressive aspect is marked by the suffix bam, that is attached to the verb root, followed by the declarative marker a. The habitual aspect is expressed by the marker tan, which is attached to the verb root, and it is followed by the declarative marker a. Imperative in Rongmei, there are two imperative markers, tho, and another one is o. The hortative marker is kan, that attached to the verb root, and the optative mood is expressed by the suffix kandio. Thank you, everyone.
Okay, thank you, Nisi, for your presentation. It's a very nice presentation. Now the paper is open for discussion. If anybody wants to ask question or give suggestion or comments, you can do so. Yes, Mary ma'am.
Nishi.
Yes, ma'am.
First of all, I would like to congratulate on taking up this paper and then presenting it so well. That was really, really nicely worked paper. As we have said with the Koborok paper, tense, mood, and aspect is something that is very, very complex in Tibeto-Burman languages. So you have attempted, or you have kind of described, since Kailat is also a speaker of Rangmei, which is a very closely related to Rongmai, he will be able to comment. If you go back to your slide, we can start with the, I will start with the conclusion, and then we can look at the examples again. You said that structure in Rongmai, the present tense is unmarked, and then you said that so in most of these TB languages, tense, marking of tense is very, very much unclear. Okay, to say that present there are three tense itself may not be correct. Kailat can also comment on this. It looks like there is the different distinction between what is for realist and irrealist. It looks like that to me. It's more of mood or aspect dominance language, because there is a distinction between only the future and the non-future, or what we call the future and the non-future. The future is very much clearly marked, but the present and the past, like your example of that bum as a progressive aspect also, we will have to check. Is it really a progressive marker, or is it something else? To me, it looks more like an existential marker. We also have a similar kind of morpheme in our language. So I don't know whether that is really a progressive marker. It would be nice if you can have, if you can collect more data with different. What happens with us looking at Tibeto-Burman languages is that we look at this language in the eyes of English or Hindi or other languages, and we try to fit in the data with that paradigm, that format or whatever we have in our mind, because we already have learned English that there are 3 tenses. It is not necessarily that these languages will have 3 tenses. So when you say that the present tense is unmarked, maybe you'll have to check whether it looks like there is what is called the distinction between realist and irrealist. No, tense is not very prominent in these languages. This is my first observation. And in the beginning, if you go back to your earlier slides, you talk about 2 types of verbs, right? One is simple, or then you have the derived. Please look at more data, because in derived or complex roots, we have given very few examples. Look at more complex. Within complex also, there will be subtypes. You may have very complex verbs which are composed of 2-3 morphemes. Also, look at like verbs like understand, imagine, or remember. You will please check more verbs, okay? Because this is the basic classification. But beyond that, even within simple also, you'll have different kinds of verb roots. And in derived, you may have compound, also you may have complex. Or okay, so TB languages, we have a lot of verbs which are composed of 2 verbs, or a verb and an adjective, or a verb and a noun, like that. Okay, so and this verb itself is very interesting. So look at more types of verbs. Okay, this is my suggestion.
Okay, ma'am.
Others also would like to comment. I will not go into the data. We can sit and discuss later in the department, but we have to rethink about our tense and aspect. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes, thank you, Mary ma'am. That's a very important suggestion. Any other comment? Any other question?
Yeah, I would also like to add to what Dr. Mary has said. And of course, it was a very good investigation as a first attempt to work on this for your dissertation. To determine whether the language has mood or aspect or tense or whichever time, you have, since you have given only, affirmative or declarative sentences, it would be good to do substitution test and check with the negated sentences and also interrogative sentences to see how the time markers that you have expressed are occurring in the language. Okay, Nishi. So okay, you have to see if if Kante changes when there is negation, or during negation, if there is something else occurring in the present time, how does it occur? That is also something that you may need to observe both in negative and interrogative sentences. So negation is a very important part of verbal categories, and that was missing. So you have to start looking into that also. That is my suggestion. And you have been giving this word, the morpheme as jang, whereas we read it as young. the J letter is, is presented as ya in IPA. So you have to decide whether it's really ya or the ja affricate. So please use the IPA symbol consistently when you are transcribing the data. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah, that's all from my side. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Monali. Yeah, this is okay. Nisi, you're a 4th semester student, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's very good. For a 4th semester, you giving this kind of presentation is very impressive. You continue to do well. But as pointed out by Mary ma'am and Dr. Monali, this tense, aspect, mood is a very complex system in Tibeto-Burman. And yes, we usually tend to try to fit in these languages into that tripartite classification of tense, that is past, present, and future. So somehow we usually tend to collect data, keeping those things in mind. So we have to be very careful on this. Now, just a small comment in Liang Mai, which is very closely related to Rong Mai. This past and future, past and present, which form the non-future group, they are usually unmarked. Okay, both of them are unmarked. We cannot differentiate whether it's a past or it's a present, looking at the structure, because both the sentence will be unmarked, but future will be marked. So because of that, we have this classification as future and non-future. So you look into Rongmei as well. I think you have given, you have presented that present is unmarked, but past is marked, right? Past is marked by Kante.
Yes.
Kante. So you look more into it. What is Kante? Whether it's more to do with aspect or mood, or is it really a past marker? Then what about a present marker that will come again? All right.
Okay,
so
sir.
Yeah, so very good presentation. You continue to do, work hard and get some more data and try to do some more analysis as suggested by your teachers. All right.
Okay, sir. I'll look into it, sir.
Okay. Any other one more question or comments we can take?
Dhiren sir is video on. Maybe he has a question.
Yeah.
Dhiren sir, would you like to ask question?
Sir?
I think it's by default. Never mind.
Anishi.
Ma'am.
That Kanthe, in that Kanthe, if you look at your Kanthe examples, the E, the declarative marker is dropped. Okay, that itself says something. Okay, so since I also had this mistake while I was collecting data, what happened is, if you go with this questionnaire giving sentence like English, like I eat rice, I ate rice, I was eating rice, definitely your informants or the will give you that past tense marker, because they also try to translate that English sentence. Okay, so the best way to do is take a natural text. Okay, it's a story or a short story or a conversation. Then when they do that, they for the past tense, very likely, if it is like my language, they will drop the content.
Yeah,
because it looks more like it's more like evidentiality marker. Okay, so I had a similar example. They will say that you ask them, can we drop this? Will it be the same thing? If that is, then your kante will be something else and not past tense marker, which is very likely. Kailat also can comment on this. So do not go with these English sentences and ask them to translate. You will definitely get 3 types if you do that. Instead, you try to kind of make it more natural when you are collecting data for your this intent. Okay, if you go with this questionnaire that we normally do, you will not be able to find out the nature of the language. Instead, you will be getting English translations. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
Yes, that is a very important suggestion Mary ma'am has given. I have made the same mistake during my research. When we go with this ready-made questionnaire from English, having this past, present, future sentence, past perfect, present perfect, or future perfect, somehow like the informants will try to give example or data, trying to fit in those things, while even if it is not a very natural kind of structure in the language. So it is best to collect data in natural settings, have some conversation, pick topics which you are interested in or which will be relevant, and then you can record the whole conversation or narration, and then you can do analysis on that. That way, I think we can present more we can have more compelling argument in our presentation. So you look into those things. So you still have a long way. So best wishes to you.
Okay, sir. Thank you for the suggestion.
Anyone who wants to give a final comment or suggestion? Okay, if there is none, then we will stop our session, the last session here. Time is also running. It's quite late now. It's already 8:30. Thank you, Sukanya and Nishi, for your nice presentation. And thank you to all the people who have commented, given suggestion, and the participants. Thank you so much. Back to you, Dr. Biman.
Okay. Thank you to Dr. Kalatbo Daimai for being the chairperson in the Day-2 second session. I really appreciate your guidance and inspiration that you have given to us. Thank you to our paper presenters too. It was a wonderful presentation presented by you all. So once again, thank you to Dr. Kalatbo Daimai and all the presentation team. So before handing over to our next speaker, that is Board of Thanks, I would like to share a few words. Please note all the suggestions, feedback, important marks that are given by our experts. That will be very helpful, maybe in your PhD research work. This kind of presentation will really boost your energy. And the kind of nervousness that you have will really give you confidence in near future. In fact, it was a good attempt by you all. Anyway, I congratulate and thanks to each one of you present here. So now may I call upon Brother Daimai again for a vote of thanks.
Thank you, Brother Biman. Okay, so to give the vote of thanks, now I, on behalf of the alumni group, would like to thank the Assam University Linguistics Department for being very supportive. And I want to, in particular, I want to thank the HOD, Professor K.H. Dirensena, who has been always a guide who has been always supportive of our program and our plans and all the programs that we conducted. Thank you so much for your presence and for your guidance to the alumni group. And I would also like to thank the faculty members of the Department of Linguistics, Assam University, Mary Hawkip, and who has always been a guide, encouraging us in all our endeavors. Thank you for your presence, and we hope that you will continue to guide us in our research as well as in other other things that we pursue in life. And thanks to Dr. Monali, the coordinator of the Alumni Association. She is the one who has been behind the group and doing all the hard work, organizing or managing the whole thing that Alumni Association usually conduct. And she has been a source of inspiration and motivation to the Alumni Association as well as to the students, I believe. Thank you so much for your presence, and thank you for guiding us. And I would like to thank Dr. Bizen from Nagaland University. He is an alumni secretary. He is always supportive, and he is the main main manpower behind our association's program. So I would like to thank Bizen, and I thank you for taking care of this technical issues this whole 2 days. And I also would like to thank my colleagues from Alumni Association, Dr. Biman, and others who are present here. Thank you so much for your support, and thank you for your inspiration. And to all the presenters who have presented yesterday and today, thank you so much. I'm really impressed by your presentations, knowing that some of you are still in 4th semester. It's really encouraging to see 4th semester students giving this kind of presentation. So take this, I believe that this from here you will only improve, and you can become a much better researcher in future. So you continue to work hard and give do sincere research in the languages of Northeast. And participants who have who have attended this series yesterday and today, thank you for attending this program. I believe that you have benefited from this program. I wish to see you in future presenting papers and publishing and all this, continuing with your research work. So thank you so much, everyone. Thank you chairpersons yesterday, today, who have chaired the session. Thanks to everyone. And yes, thank you.
Yes, before we formally close, I would like to request all the our teachers and all the participants to kindly turn on your camera so that we can take a group photograph. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, please turn your cameras on as we will take one last photograph together. Dr. Mary, please turn your camera on, and all of you present here.
Dhiren sir and G Sara.
I think he's driving.
Oh, and
Tapushi, Sarah, Dorothy. I would also like to mention here, Kaladbu, that Tapushi, Dorothy, and
Yeah.
Monali, okay, I
Your
think
voice.
so. Got this. Okay, Monali, we can't hear you. Okay, I think she was trying to say something.
Yeah. That's right.
Maybe because
Hi,
of the.
Brian. I'm ready.
Monali,
yeah,
yeah.
I got disconnected.
I think
I was
Hiren sir
saying
is
that
unaware.
yes, I was saying that the first semesters are having exam tomorrow,
Mhm.
and they are still attending the program today. So I think we need to give a special thanks to the first semesters also who are present here
Right.
yesterday and today for their enthusiasm.
Yes. Okay, photograph taken.
Yeah, now, yes. Everyone ready?
Ready.
Yeah. We have second one. Okay. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
All right.
Thank you, everyone. Good night.
Good
Yeah,
night.
good night. Yes.
Good night, everyone, and thank
Good night.
you.
Bye-bye.
Bye. All
Bye.
the best to all the fourth semester
Third semester.
MA students. Yeah, first semester
Yeah.
students.
Thank you, ma'am.